Please switch on your videos. Okay, students. So in the last session, we were discussed about the equilibrium of concurrent forces. Okay, so let us recall these two terms once again, and we can do one numericals regarding with this equation that we were discussed in our last class. So starting with Adulya. Adulya, what do you mean by concurrent force?
Force acting on a same point.
Okay, the force acting on a given point. The forces which are acting on a given point is known as concurrent force. Then, Emmeline, what do you mean by equilibrium of concurrent force?
If net force of that is equal to 0.
Okay, if the net force which is acting on an object is equal to 0, we can say that it is known as the equilibrium of a particle or equilibrium of all that concurrent force. Okay, then Gaia, what are the characteristics of this equilibrium of a particle or equilibrium of concurrent force?
They should be equal in magnitude but opposite in direction.
Okay, they should be equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. Okay, and in the last class, we discussed an equation for calculating the angle of inclination for an object which is under equilibrium. That is, theta is equal to, what is the equation for calculating the angle of inclination? Theta is equal to, John Philip. How we can calculate the angle at which the object is shifted from its initial position if a horizontal force is acting on that particular object. Same question to Shabrinath.
Theta is equal to tan inverse F by mg.
Yes, theta is equal to tan inverse F by mg, where F and mg both are forces. F is the horizontal force and mg is the force which is due to action force. It is due to the weight of that particular object. So here in this case, this particular case, we are consider it's a bob, a simple pendulum with a bob of mass m is attached to its end. So here this mg indicates the downward force, that is the action force which is acting downwards. So in order to calculate the inclination, angle of inclination, here we have one equation, theta is equal to tan inverse F by mg, tan inverse F by mg. This is the equation for calculating the angle of inclination. So based on that, here in your textbook, you have a problem. It's a solved example in page number 99, example 5.6. So we can discuss that question here based on this equation. 1 minute, I will insert that image. Okay, so this is our question, example 5.6. A mass of 6 kilogram is suspended by a rope of length 2 meter from the ceiling. A force of 50 Newton in the horizontal direction is applied at the midpoint P of the rope as shown in the figure. So the figure is given in your textbook. What is the angle of the rope? What is the angle the rope makes with the vertical in equilibrium? And here you can take the acceleration due to gravity G is equal to 10 meter per second and neglect the mass of the rope. So this is the question, how we can solve it. Here we want to calculate the angle. What is the angle the rope makes with that of the vertical in equilibrium? A mass of 6 kilogram is suspended by a rope of length 2 meter from the ceiling. A force of 50 Newton in the horizontal direction is applied at the midpoint of the rope as shown Then what is the angle the rope makes with the vertical in equilibrium? Yes. Excuse me, students. I request all of you to please switch on. All of you, please mute your audio and listen here. Okay. So a mass of 6 kilogram is suspended by a rope of length 2 meter from the ceiling. A force of 50 Newton in the horizontal direction is applied at the midpoint P of the rope as shown. What is the angle the rope makes with the vertical in equilibrium? Okay. So we can take the condition. Here we consider a rope. What about the length of the rope? Length of the rope is given in the question. What is the length of the rope? A rope is suspended. The rope of length 2 meter is suspended from a ceiling. Okay. So the 2 meter is the length of the rope. And a mass of 6 kilogram is attached to the end of this rope. Mass of 6 kilogram attached to the end of the rope. Rope of length 2 meter is suspended with a mass of 6 kilogram is attached to its end. And a horizontal force of F is equal to 50 Newton exerting at the midpoint P of the rope. So here we want to calculate the angle of inclination. That is at what angle this rope is made or it is shifted from its original position. This is what we want to find out. So this is the initial condition. Whenever we are applying a horizontal force of 50 Newton, what happens? The initial position of the rope undergoes changes. Here this is the initial position. Here we have a rope with a 6 kilogram mass. Okay, when a horizontal force of 50 Newton is exerted onto the rope, it shifted from its original position like this. And it make an angle of inclination theta. Now this is the position of the mass. Here it is 6 kilogram. It exerts a downward force. At the same time, a reaction force of known as tension is act on this rope. Okay, so children, try to recall what about the equation we can use here in order to find out the angle of inclination theta. Recall the equation, how we can find out this angle of inclination theta. Theta is equal to, unmute and say Emilin, it's right. Theta is equal to,
Tan inverse into F divided by mg.
yes, tan inverse F divided by mg. And try to differentiate each term present in this equation. What is F stands for? F.
Horizontal force.
F is the horizontal force. Very good. F is horizontal force. And what is mg?
Action force acting downwards.
Yes, mg is the action force. It is the action force which acts downwards. Okay, now we can find out the values that is given here in this question. What about the horizontal force here? It already given. Theta is equal to tan inverse. What about the horizontal force? Try to read the question. A mass of 6 kilogram is suspended by a rope of length 2 meter from the ceiling. A force of 50 Newton in the horizontal direction is applied. So what about the magnitude of the horizontal force? Magnitude of, yes, it is 50 Newton. Okay, 50. Magnitude of horizontal force is 50. Then what about mg? That is the force acting downwards. Here we have a mass, an object of mass 6 kilogram is attached to the end of the rope. Then what about the force acting downwards? F is equal to mg. Mass is 6. And what about the acceleration due to gravity here? Acceleration due to gravity. Unmute and say 10. Okay, so 6 into 10. So what about the action force which is acting downward? 6 into 10 is equal to 60 Newton. Okay, F is equal to mg. That is 6 into 10 is equal to 60 Newton. So we can substitute the value of mg here. Mg is mass 6 and the acceleration due to gravity. For the easiness of calculation, here it is provided as 10 meter per second square. So 6 into 10, that is equal to 60 Newton. This is the action force. So here the SI unit is also expressed in terms of Newton. Okay. So here equation, according to our equation, the angle theta is equal to tan inverse F by mg, where F is the horizontal force. The value of the horizontal force is given, it is 50. And here we calculate the value of mg, it is nothing, it is 60 Newton. Or again, we can solve this. Theta is equal to tan inverse. Here these two zeros cancels, 5 by 6. Theta is equal to tan inverse 5 by 6. This is the answer. Theta is equal to tan inverse 5 by 6. And students, do you have any idea to find out the tan inverse using the log book? Okay. In the next class, I will download the page of the tan inverse, and after that we can discuss how to find out the value of tan inverse value, sine inverse value, cos inverse value. Okay. So in the next class, I will explain how we can find out it from the log books. So actually theta is equal to tan inverse 5 by 6. This is the answer, and its final answer is 40 degree. Tan inverse 5 by 6 is 40 degree. Okay, so this is the answer on how the way in which we can find out the angle at which the rope is shifted from that of its initial position. Theta is equal to tan inverse F by mg. This is the equation for find out the angle of inclination for the equilibrium of concurrent forces. Theta is equal to tan inverse F by mg. Each of these terms have their own meanings, where F is the horizontal force, mg is the action force that is acting downwards. Okay, so that's all about the equilibrium of concurrent force. Now we are moved to the next topic of this lesson, that is what is known as friction. Okay, so all of you write the next heading, friction. Write the next heading, friction. Okay, I know that this is not a new term for you. You may have heard about this term friction, right? Is it a new term for you? All of you, please switch on your videos. Okay, what do you mean by friction? What all things comes to your mind by hearing this term, friction? Yes, Gaya, what do you mean by friction?
The force which resists the motion of an object.
Yes, very good. The force which is resists the motion of an object, relative motion of an object. Mary Angelina, what all things that you are know about this term, friction?
Ma'am, it is a force that opposes the motion of two objects.
Okay. And what about its nature? Is the applied force and that of the frictional force are along the same direction?
Ma'am, I don't know.
From your sentence itself, the answer is there. It is an opposing force. So the applied force and that of the frictional force, both of them are in opposite directions. Okay, then what are the other characteristics of this frictional force? Other characteristics? John? John Philip? Other characteristics? Okay, no idea. Okay, so the frictional force means if the object, it is the force which arises due to it is the force which is act between the two objects in motion, or it is the motion, or it is the frictional force, or friction is actually a force which opposes the relative motion between the object. And actually this frictional force arises mainly because of the irregularities of the surfaces. So let us see what about the definition of friction. First of all, we can define friction. After that, we can discuss its characteristics and what are the different types of friction. So as you say, it is exactly right. Friction is nothing. It is the relative motion. It is a force which is opposes the relative motion of an object. Okay. And friction is a contact force. Friction is a contact force that opposes relative motion of an object. So basically, friction is nothing. It is a force. Friction is a force. It opposes the relative motion of an object. That is, if the object moves on the surface of another object, there will be a force of opposition. That force of opposition is known as frictional force. Is it clear? So what do you mean by frictional force? What do you mean by frictional force? Jodi?
A contact force that opposes relative motion of an object.
Okay, frictional force or friction, it's a contact force that opposes the relative motion of an object. Okay, and this forces arises when one object moves on the surface of another object. If one object moves on the surface of the another object, an opposition motion or opposite motion exists between these two objects is known as frictional force. Okay, so now let us see what are the different characteristics of this frictional force. So the next one, characteristics of frictional force. So as we told here, frictional force is an opposing force. It is an opposing force. Frictional force is an opposing force. It arises due to irregularities of the surface. It arises due to irregularities of the surface. It is an opposing force. It arises due to irregularities of the surface. We know that frictional force is a force which is acting between the two objects. So here two objects are needed in order to explain this frictional force. Okay, and it arises due to irregularities of the object. So when one object is moved on the surface of another object, the smoothness of the motion of this object occurs only due to the irregularities of the other object. We know that whenever we throw a ball, the ball is moving a long distance for some times. Okay, after that, we can see that after some times the ball comes to rest. If there is no external forces acting on it, whatever it may be, after some times the ball comes to rest. It is because of the frictional force. Irregularities of the surface through which it is moving, the ball comes to rest. Okay, so the frictional force arises due to the irregularities of the surface. Or we can say it arises due to the adhesive force. It arises due to adhesive force. Then what do you mean by adhesive force? Are you familiar with this adhesive force? We have two types of forces are there. Cohesive force and adhesive force. So first of all, I will give an explanation about what you mean by adhesive force and cohesive force. Okay, so it arises due to irregularities of the surface. And the next point, it arises due to adhesive force. Actually, we have two different types of forces are there. Sometimes you may be study about these two forces in chemistry. So the first one is adhesive force. Adhesive force. And the second one is cohesive force. Okay. Adhesive force means the force between different molecules. Adhesive force implies it is the force between different molecules of the object. Adhesive force is the force between different molecules of object, and a cohesive force means force between same molecules of the object. Force between same molecules of the object. Okay. So here we can say that whenever one object is moves on the surface of another object, the molecules of these two objects are different. Okay, so we can say that frictional forces arises due to adhesive force. Adhesive force means force between different molecules of object, and cohesive force means force between same molecules. Okay, in the case of frictional force, it is mainly arises due to adhesive force. So we can consider the frictional force is a practical application of the adhesive force. It is the force between different molecules. You just imagine the motion of any object. If the human walks through a road, the molecules are different. Or if the movement of molecules in a container, molecules of a glass is there or beaker is there, and the molecules of water, both are different. Okay, so all of these are examples of adhesive force, or we can say here the frictional force arises due to adhesive force. And another characteristics of frictional force, it is tangential in nature. Frictional force is a tangential force. It is a tangential force. Frictional force is a tangential force. Okay, so these are the different characteristics of frictional force. So the force which opposes the relative motion of an object is known as frictional force. As we told here, it is a contact force. If and only if the contact between the two objects is occurs, then only the frictional force is exists between that object. Okay, it is a contact force. And as in the definition says, it is an opposing force. It arises due to the irregularities of the surface, and it is arises due to the adhesive force. It is a tangential force. So these are the different characteristics of frictional force. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Alan Joffe, what do you mean by frictional force? Alan? Nimita? Okay, Alan, you can continue. Alan, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
The force inserted on an object which resists the
Which resists the relative motion of an object is known as frictional force. Okay. Then Nimita, tell me any three characteristics of this frictional force.
It arises due to adhesive force.
Okay, it arises due to adhesive force. Then
It's an opposing force,
it is an opposing force. Good.
and it is a tangential force.
It's a tangential force. Okay. Then any other character? Okay, very good. Then Eva, any other characteristics?
It arises due to irregularities in the surface.
It arises due to the irregularities of the surface. Then I have one more doubt. What do you mean by this adhesive force, Alantina? It arises due to adhesive force. Then what do you mean by adhesive force?
Force between different molecules of object.
Yes, it is the force between different molecules of the objects. Okay, so frictional force is a force which is resist the relative motion of an object, and there are different characteristics are there for this frictional force. Now let us see what are the different types of frictional force. So in this chapter, we are discussing mainly three types of frictional force: static friction, rolling friction, and kinetic friction. Okay, so we can discuss the different types of frictional force. All of you write the next heading, types of friction. types of friction. The first one is static friction. We have different types of frictions are there. Static friction. Second one, kinetic friction. And the last one, rolling friction. Static friction, kinetic friction, and rolling friction. So we can discuss about the different types of friction one by one. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the static friction. What do you mean by this word meaning static? What do you mean by this word static? Static means stationary. Static means stationary or a state of rest. That is what is meant by static. Okay. So static friction, as its name implies, it is a frictional force which arises when a body which is at rest on the surface of another body. Okay. So this is what is known as static friction. Static friction, as its name implies, it is a frictional force which arises when one body rests on the surface of another body. So here you can see the definition for static friction. Force that resists the initiation of motion of one body over another with which is it in contact. That is what is known as static friction. And the static friction is denoted by the letter Fs. So here we are writing the letter F. In order to denote it as a static friction, here we are using a subscript small s. So Fs is used to denote the static friction. Okay. And another characteristics of the static friction, it opposes the impending motion. It opposes the impending motion. Then what do you mean by impending motion? Impending motion means it is the motion of an object that would happen if and only if an external force is acting on the object if the frictional force is absent. That is what is known as impending motion. So here we have different types of friction. The first one is static friction. As its name implies, static means stationary state. Stationary or a state of rest. That is what is known as static friction. Okay, that is, it is a force of friction which arises when one object is rest on the surface of another object. That is what is known as static friction. It is denoted by the letter Fs. And here we discuss another characteristics of static friction. It opposes the impending motion. It opposes the impending motion. Impending motion means it is the motion of an object which takes place if and only if an external force is applied on it, if the frictional force is absent there. That is what is known as impending motion. So students, suppose we just consider an object with a mass m. Okay, let F be the force acting on this object. Here we consider an object with a mass m and let F be an external force which is acting on this object with the mass m, which is at a state of rest. Then what happens? At the same time, the static friction is also exert the same force from the opposite direction. Fs is the force applied externally. At the same time, the static friction is also exerting the same force. For example, if we are applying a 1 Newton force on this object of mass m, the static friction is also tried to exert the same force 1 Newton, that is from the opposite direction. If we are applying the 2 Newton force on this object with the mass m, then what happened? Static friction is also tried to exert the same mass 2 Newton, that is from the opposite side. And again, if you are further increase the magnitude of force into 8 Newton, again the static friction is tried to give or exert the same force 8 Newton, that is from the opposite direction, and try to keep this object stationary as possible. Okay, so from this it is clear that whenever the magnitude of the external forces increases, the static friction is also tried to exert the same force from the opposite direction. So from this, we can say that the static friction is a self-adjusting force. Okay, static friction is a self-adjusting force. Static friction is a force which is acting on the object which is at a state of rest on the surface of the another object. So static friction is a self-adjusting force. Why we call this static friction as a self-adjusting force? Because whenever we increases or whenever we are applying a magnitude of force to an object is at a rest position, at the same time, the static friction is also tried to exert the same magnitude of force from the opposite direction in order to keep the object in a stationary state. So that's why we can call the static friction is a self-adjusting force. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then who can define what do you mean? Why this static friction is also known as self-adjusting force? I want to check whether it is clear to you or not. Mehrin, why the static friction is also known as self-adjusting force? Yeah, you can say it in your own words, no problem. Why the static friction is also known as a self-adjusting force? Yes, Mehri, no problem. Unmute and say. Niranjan, why the static friction is also known as self-adjusting force? Yes, unmute and say.
I don't know.
You don't know. You didn't understand the concept? Okay, once again, I will explain the same. So here we are consider an object with a mass m. We are exert a force of 1 Newton from this direction. So here we are exert a force of 1 Newton. This is the external applied force. We know that static friction is a force which is exerted on an object which is in a state of rest on the surface of another object. So here we exert a force of 1 Newton on the surface of the object. Okay. At the same time, what happens to the static friction? The static friction is also tried to exert a force of same magnitude from the opposite direction. Again, if we are trying to further increase the magnitude of the applied force, if it is increases by 2 Newton, the static friction is also tries to increase its magnitude and it is exerted from the opposite direction as 2 Newton. Again, if you are further increases by 3 Newton from this forward direction, static friction is also tried to increases the opposing force by 3 Newton. Okay, so if again and again, if you are increases the external applied force, during the same time, the static friction is also tried to increases the magnitude of the force from the opposite direction. That's why the static friction is known as a self-adjusting force. That is, the static friction is tried to keep the object in a stationary state. Static friction, you just kept remind the definition of static friction. Static friction is a force of friction which is arises when the object is in a state of rest on the surface of the another object. That is what is known as static friction. So if you are applying a force of any magnitude from the forward direction, our static friction is try to exert the same amount of the force from the opposite direction in order to keep the object in a state of rest. That is why the static friction is also known as self-adjusting force. It is a self-adjusting force. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then try to say what you mean by why the static friction is also known as self-adjusting force, Niranjan.
It applies force of the same magnitude in the opposite direction to keep the object stationary.
To keep the object in a stationary state. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then my next question. Students, what happens if the self-adjusting force reaches a maximum value? Okay. For example, if we are applying a force of 10 Newton from the forward direction, again this static friction is try to exert the same force, the force with the same magnitude, that is 10 Newton from the opposite direction. After reaching a particular limit, actually what happens here is that the object shows a tendency to move from its stationary state. Okay, so we are starting from a small force. A small force of 1 Newton is applied from this forward direction. Static friction is also exert the same force from the opposite direction. There is a competition between us and that of the static friction. Okay, so after that, after sometimes a particular limit is reached. Okay, a region is reached at which we are applying a force of 10 Newton. The static friction is also tried to exert the same force from the opposite direction. But during that time, after this limit of the self-adjusting force, actually what happens is that the object shows a tendency to move from the state of rest. This position or this limit is known as limiting friction. This limit is known as limiting friction. Okay. So what do you mean by limiting friction? Limiting friction is a region, or it is a particular point up to which, or at that point at which the object shows a tendency to move from its rest position. That is what is known as limiting friction. Okay, so at that point we can say that the static friction reaches its maximum value. Okay, so the limiting friction is a region at which the static friction reaches a maximum value. After that, it cannot exert another opposing force onto that object in order to keep the object in a state of rest. Okay, if we are exerting a 100 Newton force from here, then if it is over the self-adjusting force, if it is over than that of the self-adjusting force, the object is actually start a tendency, or it shows a tendency to move from the stationary state. Okay, so the region at which the static friction reaches a maximum value is known as limiting friction. That is what is known as limiting friction. So all of you write the subheading, what do you mean by limiting friction? Limiting friction, it is the region, or it is the state of friction. It is the state of friction at which static friction reaches a maximum value. It is the state of friction at which static friction reaches a maximum value. It is a state of friction at which the static friction reaches a maximum value. So the maximum value of static friction is actually denoted like this. Fs is for static friction. If it is maximum, Fs max. So this Fs max is the condition for obtaining the limiting friction. Is the condition for limiting friction. And at limiting friction, our object, which is initially in a state of rest, shows a tendency to move. It shows a tendency to move. Okay. So this is about the static friction and some terms associated with the static friction. So once again, we can go through all the points. We have different types of friction. The first one is static friction. You just concentrate on that word meaning static. Static means stationary or a state of being rest. That is what is known as static. Okay. So static friction means it is a force of friction which arises when one object is in a state of rest on the surface of another object. That is what is known as static friction. And how it is denoted? Which letter is used to denote the static friction, Lakshmi?
Fs.
It is denoted by Fs. And the static friction is opposes the impending motion. What do you mean by this impending motion then? What do you mean by impending motion? Sanjana. It opposes the impending motion. What do you mean by impending motion? Impending motion means it is the motion of an object which is happens if and only if an external force is acting on it. Otherwise, the object is remains in a state of rest. If the frictional force is absent and the object is remains in a state of rest, and it is move if and only if an external force is acting on it. That is what is known as impending motion. And this static friction is actually opposes the impending motion. Okay, and if that is if you are moving an object by applying an external force, the object is started its motion. That motion is known as impending motion. And our static friction try to opposes the relative motion of that object, or it is try to keep the object always in a state of rest. That is what is known as impending motion, and static friction opposes the impending motion. And here we discuss the two terms associated with the static friction. The first one is self-adjusting force. Our static friction is a self-adjusting force. And the second term that we are discussed here, limiting friction. Self-adjusting force and limiting friction. Self-adjusting force means it is a force that is exerted by this static friction. The static friction gives a frictional force in order to keep the object in a state of rest. Okay, so whatever may be the force that is exerted from that of the applied force, the same amount or magnitude of the force exerted by the static friction from the opposite side in order to keep the object in a state of rest. That's why the static friction is also known as self-adjusting force. Then the next one is limiting friction. Whenever this self-adjusting force or the static friction reaches a maximum value, the object which is initially in a state of rest shows a tendency to move. That particular point of friction is known as limiting friction. That is what is known as limiting friction. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we have some laws of friction are there. So now we can discuss the laws of friction. All of you write the next heading, laws of friction. Laws of static friction, not simple friction, the laws of static friction. Okay, now it's almost 11:49. We can discuss this topic in the next class.